The human explorer named Ryan had always dreamed of seeing new worlds. He was part of the deep space program called Frontier Reach, a mission sent to explore the unknown edges of the galaxy. His ship, Artemis IV, carried him and a small crew through regions where no human signal had ever reached. For months they mapped strange planets, studied alien ruins, and sent back data to Earth. Then came the storm. A violent wave of magnetic energy struck their ship as it passed through the Nebra sector. The crew tried to stabilize the engines, but the systems failed one by one. Fire alarms echoed through the corridors and bright sparks burst from the control panels. Ryan took the pilot's seat, trying to guide the falling craft toward a visible planet covered in green and silver clouds. It was the only hope of survival. The ship entered the atmosphere at a deadly angle. The sky turned white from heat. Ryan barely managed to eject from the main cabin before the Artemis IV broke apart in the air. The escape pod hit the ground hard, bouncing across a wide plain of metallic grass and strange glowing stones. When the silence returned, Ryan realized he was alive but alone. The rest of his crew was gone and the communication system was dead. He stepped out of the wreckage and looked around. The planet's air was heavy but breathable. The horizon was filled with silver trees, each leaf shining like glass. In the distance stood towering cliffs shaped like spears rising from the ground. He grabbed his survival pack and began walking toward a stream of clear blue water, hoping to find shelter before night came. As he followed the stream, he heard a sound, soft at first, then sharper. He turned quickly, scanning the area. A shadow moved between the trees. He took a defensive stance, holding his scanner like a weapon even though it was only a tool. The sound came again, this time closer. Then he saw them. A group of tall figures stepped out from behind the trees. They wore silver armor shaped from bone and crystal. Their skin had a pale green hue and their eyes glowed faintly with gold light. Ryan froze, realizing they were not machines but living beings. All of them appeared female, their faces strong and sharp like carved stone. They spoke in a language he could not understand, but their tone was serious and cautious. One of them, clearly the leader, pointed a spear at him. Ryan raised his hand slowly to show he meant no harm. The leader moved closer, circling him as if judging whether he was dangerous. She had long white hair braided with small metal rings, and her armor carried strange symbols. Ryan guessed she might be a warrior or captain. She said something again, her voice deep and commanding. When Ryan did not answer, two of the warriors grabbed his arms and pulled him forward. He did not fight back. He knew he was outnumbered, and any resistance could lead to his death. They bound his wrists with flexible cords that felt alive, as if made of some organic material. Then they marched him through the forest toward their camp. As they walked, Ryan observed everything carefully: their formation, their weapons, the design of their armor. It was clear they were an organized tribe, not a primitive band. After an hour, the trees opened into a wide valley filled with circular huts made from stone and glowing roots. Fires burned in the center, and dozens of other warriors turned to look as Ryan was brought in. He could feel their eyes on him, filled with suspicion and curiosity. Some whispered among themselves, pointing at his human clothes and pale skin. He stood silently, trying to stay calm. The leader stopped before a large tent decorated with banners of silver and black.
Inside sat another woman, older but powerful.
Her eyes shone brighter than the rest. She wore a crown of bone-like material that looked like it came from some large creature. The leader bowed slightly and spoke in her language, gesturing toward Ryan. The older woman listened, then stood up and walked toward him. When she looked at Ryan, he felt an intense presence. She studied him for a long moment, then spoke in a slow, careful tone. To his surprise, a small device on her wrist emitted translated words in broken English. "Human," she said. "You fell from the sky. Why?" Ryan realized she had some kind of translator. He answered carefully. "My ship crashed. I mean no harm. I only seek help." The woman's eyes narrowed. "Help? Many sky beings come before. None honest. Why should we trust you?" Ryan took a deep breath. "Because I have nothing left to fight with. I only have my word." The woman stared at him again, then gave a short signal to her guards. They released his bindings but stayed close. She turned and spoke to the leader, who nodded. Then she looked back at Ryan. "You will stay. You will work. We will see truth in your actions." Ryan nodded in agreement. He knew this was his best chance to survive. That night he was given a small tent at the edge of the camp. The tribe gave him food that looked like silver fruit and water that shimmered like crystal. It tasted strange but clean. Around the campfires, he could hear the women speaking their language, laughing and singing in deep tones that echoed through the valley. Despite his situation, there was a sense of order and discipline among them. He spent the night awake, thinking about his crew and his home. The stars above this planet looked different, brighter, closer. Somewhere out there, Earth still waited, but for now he was a prisoner among an alien tribe, watched by eyes filled with curiosity and doubt. He knew he had to be careful. One wrong move could turn suspicion into danger. At dawn, the leader from before visited his tent. She introduced herself through the translator as Mara, captain of the tribe's guard. She told him he would work under her watch, learning their ways and helping with daily tasks. Ryan agreed without question. As they walked through the camp, Mara explained that their tribe, called the Varen, had lived on this world for centuries, cut off from other species after a great war. They were all women because their race had evolved through genetic adaptation after losing their male population long ago. Ryan listened quietly, fascinated. He could sense that despite their fierce appearance, the Varen were not cruel. They were survivors. Their discipline and unity had kept them alive in a harsh world. Mara noticed his calm attitude and curiosity, and her tone softened slightly. "You are strange for a sky being," she said. "You do not shout. You do not lie." "I have learned," Ryan replied. "Panic never helps." She gave a small nod, almost approving. "We will see if your peace holds when the trials begin." Ryan frowned. "Trials?" She didn't answer. She only walked away, leaving him to wonder what test awaited him next. The sun rose higher, casting silver light over the camp. Ryan stood in the middle of the alien valley, surrounded by warriors who did not trust him yet. But something inside him stirred, a quiet resolve. If he was to survive here, he would not do it through fear or strength alone. He would earn their respect one action at a time. Morning light spread across the valley as Ryan woke to the sound of drums echoing between the cliffs. He stepped out of his tent and saw the Varen warriors forming lines near the training grounds. The air was filled with energy and the smell of burning herbs. The leader, Mara, stood on a raised platform with her armor shining in the sun. Her voice carried through the camp as she spoke in her native language. The warriors responded with a roar that shook the ground. Ryan looked around, unsure of what was happening. A young warrior approached him and handed him a small translator stone that Mara had given him the day before. When he placed it near his ear, the sounds shifted into rough English. "The captain calls for the trials," the girl said. "All must prove their strength. You will also stand before the test." Ryan frowned slightly. "What kind of test?" The young warrior only smiled. "The kind that shows who is brave." Mara signaled for Ryan to step forward. He obeyed, feeling dozens of eyes following him. The tribe formed a circle around the training grounds. In the center stood several obstacles made of wood, rope, and stone. There were also strange animals tied to posts, their bodies covered in scales and feathers. Ryan felt a mix of curiosity and fear. He had trained in survival and defense on Earth, but this world was full of surprises. Mara spoke through her wrist device so he could understand. "Human, our tribe honors strength, courage, and wisdom. You claim peace, but peace is worthless without strength. You will pass 3 trials. Fail, and you will not stay among us." Ryan took a breath and nodded. "Then I will do my best." The first trial began with a signal from Mara. The warriors cleared the area and a large creature was released from its cage. It looked like a mix between a tiger and a lizard, with 4 glowing eyes and sharp horns. It roared, shaking the ground beneath Ryan's feet. The crowd cheered. Mara watched closely, her expression unreadable. Ryan had no weapons, only his instincts. The creature charged, claws slashing the air. He dodged quickly, rolling across the sand. Years of training helped him stay calm. He grabbed a long branch from the ground and used it to block a strike. The branch cracked but held for a moment. The beast lunged again and Ryan struck its snout, forcing it back. He moved in a slow circle, keeping his distance, studying its movements. The Varen warriors murmured among themselves, surprised at his quick thinking. After several tense moments, the creature lunged again, but Ryan sidestepped and used the broken branch to push its head down. He then threw sand into its eyes, making it roar in pain. While it was blinded, he climbed onto a nearby rock and waited. The beast stumbled and fell against the stone wall of the arena. When it didn't rise again, Mara raised her hand and called the match over. The warriors cheered. Ryan stood still, breathing hard but unhurt. Mara approached him. "You fought with mind, not rage." "That is rare," she said. "The first trial is done." Ryan bowed his head slightly. "Thank you. I only did what I had to." The second trial began after a short rest. This time it was not about strength. The Varan brought him to a field of tall grass where several strange crystals glowed in the ground. Mara explained that he had to find the path through the field without touching the crystals. If he touched one, it would release a shock of energy. The field stretched far and he could not see the end. The test was designed to measure awareness and intelligence. Ryan studied the pattern of light. He noticed that the crystals pulsed in rhythm, creating safe spots between them. He took slow steps, timing each move with the pulses. The Varan watched quietly, expecting him to fail early. But Ryan advanced carefully, step by step. He remembered lessons from his training, watching patterns, reading motion, using calm thought over speed. After what felt like an hour, he reached the other side. The crowd broke into murmurs of surprise. Even Mara's stern face softened slightly. "The second trial is past," she said. "You see what others do not? That is wisdom." Ryan gave a small smile. Sometimes the hardest path is the quiet one. The final trial came as the sun began to set. Mara led him and the other warriors to a cliff overlooking the valley. Below them was a wide chasm filled with swirling mist and glowing rocks. A narrow bridge made of bone stretched across. The trial, Mara said, was one of trust. He had to cross the bridge blindfolded, guided only by the voice of a warrior on the other side. Many had failed in past years. Some refused to try. Ryan nodded, understanding the risk. Mara chose a young warrior named Sira to guide him. She stood across the bridge with a horn in her hand. When the blindfold covered his eyes, Ryan took his first careful step. The bridge shook beneath his feet. The wind howled through the canyon. Sira called out words in the Varan language, short and rhythmic. The translator turned them into broken English. "Left step, straight small move, stop." Ryan followed the instructions, trusting her voice. At one point, the bridge tilted sharply and he almost fell. But he steadied himself and kept moving. Every step felt endless. The wind roared louder, trying to drown out her words. He could hear the tribe shouting from the cliff behind him. Mara's voice rose above them all. "Do not stop, human. The bridge listens to fear." Ryan understood. The bridge was alive, a creature of bone responding to emotion. He forced himself to stay calm, breathing slow. Each movement became more sure, more steady. Finally, after what felt like forever, Sira's voice called out, "Last step, ground." He stepped forward and felt solid stone beneath his feet. The warriors on the far side shouted in surprise and approval. Ryan pulled off the blindfold, blinking against the setting sun. Across the chasm, Mara stood with her arms crossed, watching him. For the first time, she gave a small nod of respect. When he returned to the camp, the tribe gathered around the fires. The atmosphere had changed. Where there had been suspicion, there was now curiosity mixed with a hint of admiration. The younger warriors asked him about his world. Ryan answered simply, describing oceans, forests, and the blue sky of Earth. The tribe listened closely. Many of them had never heard of a place like that. Mara sat near the fire, silent but thoughtful. When Ryan finished speaking, she said, "You have done what few outsiders could. You fought with control, saw with patience, and trusted without fear. The trials prove your words true. You seek peace, not power." Ryan nodded. "I only wish to learn your ways and survive." She looked into the fire. "Perhaps you will learn more than that. Perhaps we all will." The next morning, Mara gave Ryan new clothing made from woven plant fibers marked with the tribe's symbols. It was a sign of belonging, though not yet full trust. He joined the daily work of the Varan, helping repair tools and study their farming systems. The tribe grew crops that glowed under moonlight and used energy from the planet itself to power their tools. Their science was strange but advanced in a natural way. As days passed, Ryan began to understand their culture. The Varan believed in balance between strength and peace. Every warrior trained not only with weapons but also with healing and building. They saw war as a last act, not a first choice. Ryan admired this deeply. He also noticed how Mara observed him from a distance, as if testing him still. Sometimes he caught her watching him with quiet curiosity, but she never spoke of it. One evening, a sudden alarm echoed through the camp. Warriors ran toward the cliffs, shouting warnings. Ryan followed and saw a dark shape moving in the sky. It was a machine, not a creature. His heart froze when he recognized the design. It was an old survey drone from Artemis 4, but it was armed and out of control. It fired energy bursts into the valley, setting huts on fire. The tribe scattered for cover. Mara shouted orders, but the drone moved too fast. Ryan ran to the armory and found the remains of his crash beacon. With quick hands, he reprogrammed the signal to jam the drone's sensors. Sparks flew as he worked. The warriors around him watched in shock as he connected wires and used the beacon as a trap. When he activated it, the drone turned sharply, losing balance. It crashed into the far cliff and exploded in a burst of light. The Varen cheered as the fire died down. Mara walked up to Ryan, her armor covered in dust. "You saved the tribe," she said. "Without weapon, only with mind again." Ryan smiled faintly. "You said peace is nothing without strength." "I think strength can come from many places." For the first time, Mara gave a genuine smile. "Perhaps you are not like the sky beings we once feared." As night fell, the tribe celebrated their survival. Music echoed through the valley, drums and chants mixing with laughter. Ryan sat near the fire, watching the stars above. He knew that trust had begun to form between him and the Varen. But deep inside, he also knew this was only the beginning. Somewhere beyond those stars, a signal from the fallen ship might still be active. Someone might be coming. The night after the attack felt calm again, but Ryan could not sleep. The drone incident had left him with many questions. He sat near the glowing stream at the edge of the camp, watching silver reflections ripple across the water. The Varen celebrated his actions, but he felt no victory. If a drone had found this planet, it meant that someone else might come next. Someone who would not seek peace. When the first light of dawn appeared, Mara approached. She stood quietly beside him, her armor reflecting the pale sun. For a while, neither spoke. Finally, she said, "You do not rest even after saving lives. Why?" Ryan looked toward the horizon. "Because that machine was not random. It came from my ship. That means a signal is still out there. If it reached others, more ships could come. And they might not care about your tribe." Mara frowned slightly. "You fear your own people. I fear what they might do if they think there is something valuable here," he said. "Humans can be good, but they can also destroy without meaning to." She looked at him with a mix of curiosity and concern. "Then we must find this signal and end it." Ryan nodded. "I can track it if I reach the crash site." Mara crossed her arms. "The crash lands lie beyond the storm plains. Few return from there. The air burns and the ground shifts. Still, if you wish to go, I will send warriors with you." Ryan stood. "If there is danger, I must face it. But I will not go alone." By noon, a small group was ready. Mara chose 3 of her best warriors. To join them, Sira, the young one who had guided him on the bridge, Taryn, strong and quiet, and Luma, a skilled scout. They packed supplies made from dried fruits, water stones, and tools powered by crystal energy. Ryan carried his scanner and a rebuilt beacon from the drone's remains. The group left the valley and marched into the vast plains that glowed under the silver sun. The journey was not easy. The land seemed alive. The ground pulsed with strange energy, and sharp winds carried dust that shimmered like metal. Ryan used his scanner to find a safe path, while the warriors watched for signs of movement. They moved silently through canyons shaped like ribs of a giant creature. At night, they made camp near rock walls that hummed softly, as if the planet itself was breathing. During one of these nights, Sira sat near Ryan and asked, "Human, why risk your life to stop a signal? You could wait in safety." Ryan smiled faintly. "Because sometimes waiting brings bigger danger. If others find this place, they will not understand your world. They might take what you have built. I have to make sure that does not happen." Sira tilted her head. "You protect those who once held you as prisoner. That is rare." He looked at her. "Sometimes enemies become family when they learn to trust." The next day they reached the storm plains. Lightning danced across the sky, striking the metallic ground. The air shimmered with static energy. Ryan's hair stood on end as he checked the readings on his scanner. The signal grew stronger with each step. Pieces of the Artemis 4 were scattered across the field like broken bones. The ship's hull had melted in places, and the main engine still gave off faint heat. They found a large crater at the center. Inside it, buried halfway in the ground, was the ship's core transmitter. It blinked weakly with red light. Ryan climbed down and brushed away the dust. "This is it," he said. "It's still sending out a beacon. If someone from the program detects it, they will come here." Mara looked around, her hand on her weapon. "Can you stop it?" Ryan opened a small panel and studied the circuits. "I can disable it, but there's a problem. The power cell is unstable. If I cut it wrong, it could explode." Mara nodded once. "Then we stand guard. You work." Ryan knelt beside the transmitter, connecting wires from his scanner. He took slow breaths, remembering his training. The wind grew stronger, and thunder rumbled above. Tareen and Luma stood at the edge of the crater, weapons ready. Sira kept her eyes on the sky. Then a new sound echoed through the plains, a deep hum, steady and powerful. Ryan froze. "Something's coming." A bright shape appeared above the clouds. It was not a storm. It was a ship, sleek and black with flashing lights along its sides. Ryan's heart pounded. The symbol on its hull was human. The Frontier Reach rescue team had arrived, but the ship did not look peaceful. Its weapons were active, scanning the ground. Ryan shouted, "They found the signal. We have to move now." Mara looked up, her expression tense. "Are they your allies?" "They think they are, but they don't know you. They will see you as a threat." Energy blasts struck the plains, sending waves of fire through the dust. The ground shook violently. Ryan pulled out his beacon and began rerouting power to jam the signal. The device sparked, but he kept working. The warriors formed a circle around him, deflecting debris with their energy shields. "Almost there," Ryan said through gritted teeth. "I just need a few more seconds." A beam from the ship struck near the crater, throwing everyone to the ground. Ryan's hand slipped, cutting a wrong wire. The transmitter flared with light. Mara grabbed him and pulled him away just as the device exploded, sending a shockwave through the area. The blast threw them down the slope and into the dust. When Ryan opened his eyes, the transmitter was gone. The signal was silent. The human ship above hovered uncertainly, then began to retreat. The interference from the explosion must have broken their link. The rescue team turned away, leaving the storm planes behind. Ryan lay on the ground, coughing from the smoke. His body ached, but he was alive. Mara knelt beside him. "You stopped them. You risked your life for us." Ryan nodded weakly. It had to be done. Sira and Luma helped him stand. Taryn carried part of the broken transmitter back as proof of their success. Together, they made their way back to the valley through the night. The storm raged behind them, but they walked in silence, knowing they had changed something important. When they reached the camp days later, the tribe greeted them with cheers. Fires burned high in celebration. Mara stood before her people and told the story of what had happened. She spoke of courage, of unity between worlds. The warriors listened with awe. When she finished, she turned to Ryan. "You are no longer a guest or a prisoner, you are Varen." The tribe roared with approval. Ryan felt something stir in his chest, a mix of pride and disbelief. He had come as a stranger, fallen from the sky. Now he stood among warriors who saw him as one of their own. Later that night, Mara joined him by the river again. The moonlight turned the water silver. "You could leave now," she said. "The danger is gone. Why stay?" Ryan looked at the glowing valley. "Because I still have things to learn here. Your people live with balance. My people forgot how to do that long ago. Maybe if I understand you better, I can teach them one day." Mara studied him quietly, then nodded. "Then you will stay as brother of the tribe." For the first time since the crash, Ryan felt peace. The fear that had once filled him faded into a quiet strength. He watched the stars above, wondering if Earth still looked back. Somewhere far away, humans believed they were alone in courage and struggle. But here, on a forgotten world, he had learned that strength could take many forms. The next morning, the tribe began rebuilding the damaged huts. Ryan helped them carry heavy stones, repair tools, and restore energy channels. The Varen children watched him curiously, laughing when he showed them how to make small gliders from leaf fibers. The warriors, once distant, now spoke freely to him. He shared stories of the oceans on Earth, and they told him tales of the great beasts that lived in the mountains. Life in the valley returned to peace, but Mara remained alert. She knew the humans might return one day. They would come with bigger ships and sharper questions. She wanted her tribe to be ready, so she asked Ryan to help strengthen their defenses and improve their understanding of human technology. Together, they began to combine their knowledge, creating something new. As weeks passed, Ryan built signal jammers from crystal and metal. He taught the tribe how to detect machines before they arrived. In return, Mara taught him how to listen to the planet's heartbeat and how to find balance between logic and instinct. They worked side by side, not as human and alien, but as partners. At night, when the valley glowed under twin moons, Ryan often stood alone and thought about the strange turn his life had taken. He had been a man lost among the stars. Now he was part of a people who had once seen him as an enemy. He had found purpose again. But deep inside, he knew peace never lasted forever. The stars above seemed to whisper of another storm coming. The valley had returned to calm. The Varen rebuilt their homes, repaired their farms, and renewed the energy channels that powered their tools. Ryan moved among the tribe, teaching what he could of human technology and learning more of their ways. For the first time since the crash, he felt a sense of belonging, a place where his knowledge and instincts mattered. Yet he could not shake the warning of the storm above the plains, the distant hum of human machines that might return. One afternoon, as Ryan checked a newly built signal jammer near the cliffs, the sky changed. Shadows moved across the horizon, unnatural and vast. The twin suns reflected off sleek hulls, forming a fleet that seemed impossibly large. The ships were black and angular, different from the rescue vessel Ryan had seen before. They came fast, dropping into the valley with energy shields blazing. The ground trembled as their engines roared. Mara appeared beside him, her expression grim. "The humans have come back," she said. "But they are not the same as your people." Ryan clenched his fists. "They are soldiers, advanced and armed. We have to prepare the tribe immediately. If they think the Varen are enemies, there will be no mercy." Mara nodded, signaling the warriors to gather. Sira, Luma, and Terran fell into formation beside Ryan. The tribe's shields and weapons were ready, but Ryan knew it would not be enough. He climbed to a high rock to get a better view of the approaching fleet. The ships spread across the sky like a black swarm, their energy fields reflecting in the river below. He turned to Mara. "We have one advantage. They do not know this world like we do. I can show the tribe how to use the terrain against them. If we fight smart, we can survive." Mara considered his words, then gave a short nod. "Then you will lead the strategy. I trust your judgment." Ryan felt the weight of the responsibility. Lives rested in his hands now. He called the tribe together in a circle. "Listen carefully," he said. "We cannot match their firepower, but we can use the ground, the cliffs, and the mist from the plains. We will divide the fleet and draw them into traps. Stay calm and follow instructions." The Varen listened with sharp focus. There was trust in their eyes, built over weeks of observing his actions during the trials and the drone attack. Ryan felt hope stir. He was no longer just a visitor. He was part of a team that relied on each other. As the fleet landed near the outer plains, Ryan led a scouting party to the high cliffs above the valley. From there, they could see the soldiers moving in organized units. The humans were efficient, scanning for life forms and mapping the valley. Ryan studied their patterns and realized they were not here to negotiate. Their mission was likely to capture or claim resources. If they reached the Varen, they would attack first. He returned to the tribe and outlined a plan. "We will use the cliffs to block their line of sight. The valley's mist will hide us. Some warriors will set traps with energy nets and crystal barriers. Others will attack from the sides. Remember, this is about defense, not revenge." Mara placed her hand on his shoulder. "Lead us well, human. We trust you." The tribe moved quickly, organizing themselves according to Ryan's strategy. Luma and Sira set up observation posts along the cliff edges. Terran helped move heavy stones and equipment to create barriers. Ryan and Mara coordinated the traps using knowledge from both human engineering and Varen energy systems. By the time the first units of the fleet advanced, the valley was ready. The first confrontation was tense. The soldiers moved carefully, scanning the valley. Ryan watched through a scope, signaling the Varen when to strike. When the fleet entered the mist, they were met with sudden energy nets that lifted machines into the air, then fell back, damaging their shields. The Varen attacked from the sides, using swift strikes and agility to disable key units. Ryan's guidance allowed them to focus on weak points, striking with precision rather than force. The humans were surprised. They had expected resistance but not strategy. Ryan noticed their leader coordinating through a holographic interface, issuing new commands to adapt. The fight intensified as soldiers advanced, and Ryan realized they needed a stronger distraction. He pointed to a narrow canyon. If we lure them there, the cliffs above can collapse stones on them. The narrow path will limit their numbers. Mara raised an eyebrow. Risky, Ryan nodded. But effective. We have no choice. The plan was executed with careful timing. A group of Varen warriors drew the soldiers into the canyon. Ryan and others triggered controlled collapses from the cliffs above. Stones crashed down, forcing the soldiers to retreat. Several machines were damaged beyond repair. The tribe cheered, but Ryan knew the fight was not over. The fleet would regroup. As night fell, the fleet hovered above the valley, energy shields glowing like moons. Ryan and Mara gathered the tribe. Tonight we defend the camp, he said. We will not allow them to reach the village. Everyone has a role. Do not act alone. The Varen positioned themselves around the huts. Ryan and Sierra climbed to observation points. They could see shadows moving across the plains. The humans were attempting to flank the valley. Ryan studied the energy readings and noticed a pattern. The fleet relied heavily on sensors. If they could disrupt them, the tribe could gain the upper hand. Using crystals and modified human tech, Ryan created a series of jammers that emitted pulses to confuse sensors. He signaled Mara to begin the defense. As the fleet moved in, their scans flickered and failed. The Varen struck, using speed and precision to disable the first wave. The humans regrouped, realizing their technology was being sabotaged, and began to retreat in small groups. Ryan led a counterattack. With Mara coordinating, they pushed the soldiers back toward the outer plains. Several units were disabled, some retreating with minor damage. The valley remained safe. But Ryan knew the fleet would not give up. They were organized, powerful, and persistent. After the battle, the tribe gathered around the fires. Mara looked at Ryan. You saved the valley again. Your mind is sharp, your courage true. You have earned more than respect. You are part of us. Ryan shook his head slightly. I did not do this alone. Your people fought with me. I only helped guide them. The victory is ours together. Mara's eyes softened. Few outsiders think like you. Most bring fear and chaos. You bring thought and courage. That night, Ryan walked to the cliffs and looked at the stars. The fleet had disappeared over the horizon, but he knew they would return. He also knew he had the Varen by his side, and together they could survive anything. The bond between him and the tribe had grown strong. He was no longer a stranger or prisoner. He was a leader, a bridge between worlds. The next morning, Ryan began preparing the valley for possible future attacks. He taught the warriors more advanced defensive techniques, combining Varen agility and knowledge with human strategy. Mara joined him in planning. Together, they devised systems that could detect, confuse, and repel intruders. The tribe embraced these lessons, learning quickly from the outsider who had once fallen from the sky. Days passed with calm work, yet tension remained in the air. Ryan and the tribe practiced drills, strengthened defenses, and improved communication. They moved through the valley as a united force. He had begun to understand the true meaning of respect and trust in the Varen culture. Strength was important, but unity, intelligence, and adaptability were just as vital. One evening, while overseeing a training session, Ryan noticed a signal on his rebuilt scanner. Unlike before, this was faint and hidden, coming from deep within the outer plains. Mara approached, watching him study the readings. Another fleet? She asked. Ryan shook his head. No, this is smaller but older. It might be scouts or perhaps remnants of the first mission. We will need to investigate carefully. Mara nodded. We do not rush into the unknown. You have taught us caution. We will follow your lead. As they returned to the camp, Ryan felt a mixture of anticipation and calm. The Varen had trusted him, and he had proven his worth again and again. The human who had fallen from the sky was now part of a world unlike any other. He had learned from them, taught them, and survived battles both in the plains and against the fleet. Yet he knew the final test was still ahead. Somewhere in the stars the next challenge waited. The bond between human and tribe had grown strong. Mara, Sira, Luma, and Terran stood with him as equals. Ryan realized that survival was no longer enough. To truly protect this world, he must guide the Varan, unite them with his knowledge, and prepare for whatever came next. The shadow of the fleet might linger, but the valley, the tribe, and its human ally would not fall easily. The days after the Shadow Fleet attack were tense but productive. Ryan worked tirelessly with the Varan, improving defenses, teaching strategy, and learning more about their unique abilities. The valley thrived under their combined efforts. Crops grew taller, energy channels flowed stronger, and the warriors moved with even greater coordination. Every day, Ryan noticed how the tribe adapted to his human ways while he absorbed their discipline and intuition. One morning, while monitoring the horizon from the cliffs, Ryan spotted faint glimmers moving through the outer plains. His scanner confirmed what he had suspected, a small fleet of scouts approaching. This was no mere reconnaissance mission. The humans were advancing, ready for confrontation. Ryan quickly alerted Mara and her council of warriors. "We cannot face the fleet head-on again," Ryan said, "but this time we can anticipate their movements. We know their technology, and we know the terrain. We can turn the plains into an advantage." Mara listened carefully, studying the maps Ryan had drawn. "We will follow your plan, human. We trust your judgment. This is not only about survival. It is about protecting our home and our people." Together they organized the tribe into units. The strongest warriors were positioned at key points across the plains. Scouts like Luma and Sira were stationed on high cliffs to relay information. Ryan and Mara prepared signals using crystals and devices to guide the warriors, ensuring that the attack could be coordinated without confusion. Every member of the tribe, from the youngest to the elders, had a role. It was not just a fight. It was a test of unity, trust, and intelligence. As the fleet approached, Ryan could feel tension rising in the valley. The humans in the ship seemed calm, but he knew they underestimated the Varan and the human who had become one of them. The scouts reported that the fleet moved in 3 divisions, each equipped with scanners and heavy weaponry. Ryan devised a plan to divide them, using the canyon system and natural mists to hide movements while setting traps along predictable paths. The first wave arrived at the canyon. The Varan waited in silence, hidden among rocks and cliffs. Ryan signaled with a crystal flare, and the traps were triggered. Energy nets lifted vehicles, stones crashed from cliffs, and warriors struck with precision. The humans faltered, unable to predict the coordinated assault. The tribe moved swiftly, taking advantage of the confusion. Ryan's knowledge of human tactics allowed him to anticipate their reactions, making every action count. When the second wave advanced toward the valley floor, Mara led a counterattack. The combination of human guidance and Varan speed created chaos among the intruders. Ryan and Sira used the mist to confuse the sensors, while Luma guided groups into ambush points. Terran and other warriors disabled machinery with carefully placed strikes. By mid-afternoon, the second wave was retreating, battered and disorganized. Ryan noticed the human leader scanning for weak points. He knew the final wave would be the most dangerous. As the sun began to set, the third wave entered the valley. Ryan and Mara coordinated a trap using the cliffs, energy barriers, and narrow pathways. This time the humans seemed more cautious, but the Varan were prepared. Ryan gave precise signals, guiding movements in real time. Warriors struck from multiple directions, creating confusion and dividing the enemy's focus. Even the fleet's advanced technology could not overcome the combination of strategy, terrain, and speed. The battle reached its peak when the leader of the fleet tried to advance toward the central valley. Ryan realized that a direct approach would allow the tribe to surround them. Using the energy channels Mara had helped him build, he created a series of pulses that disrupted the sensors, blinding the leader's view. The Varan closed in silently. The fleet's ships, once confident and strong, were now in disarray. One by one, they retreated, unable to maintain formation against the clever defenses and swift attacks. The valley remained intact. As the dust settled, the tribe gathered at the camp. The warriors were exhilarated yet calm. Mara looked at Ryan, her expression filled with respect and pride. "You have done more than survive," she said. "You have led us, guided us, and shown us the value of foresight and intelligence. You are no longer a guest or an ally. You are family." Ryan looked around at the valley, at the glowing streams, repaired huts, and proud warriors. "We did this together," he said. "I only helped bring knowledge." The Varen fought with courage and unity. "That is what saved the valley." Sira stepped forward, smiling. "Human, you have earned more than respect. You have earned trust. You are one of us." The tribe cheered, their voices echoing through the cliffs. Ryan felt a surge of pride mixed with humility. He had arrived as a stranger, alone and vulnerable. Now he was part of a people who had once seen him as an outsider. He had proven that humans and Varen could work together, that courage and wisdom could overcome raw power, and that trust was stronger than fear. In the following days, Ryan and the Varen continued to strengthen their valley. They repaired energy channels, built observation posts, and created communication networks that allowed them to monitor the surrounding plains. The tribe taught Ryan more about their connection to the planet, how to read subtle shifts in energy, and how to anticipate natural hazards. In return, Ryan taught them techniques for long-range detection, emergency response, and simple human strategies for technology use. During these times, Ryan noticed a change within himself. He no longer saw himself as an outsider. He was a member of a culture that valued strength, wisdom, and unity. He had learned patience from the Varen, understanding from their leaders, and determination from the young warriors. They in turn had learned from him how to think like an outsider, anticipate unknown threats, and adapt quickly. It was not just survival. It was growth for both worlds. One evening, Ryan climbed the cliffs with Mara to observe the valley. The twin moons reflected on the streams below, and the valley glowed with a soft silver light. "The humans may return someday," Mara said quietly. "But if they do, we will be ready." Ryan nodded. "We have learned from them, and we have learned from each other. We are stronger together than apart." Mara smiled, a rare expression of warmth. "Then we will not fear the future. We have allies now that few have had, not only humans and Varen, but the unity of trust and courage." Ryan looked at the stars, thinking of Earth and the human programs that had sent ships into unknown space. They believed humanity was alone, that humans were the measure of all courage and intelligence. But here, on a distant world, Ryan had found something more valuable. A people who could match human ingenuity with discipline, patience, and respect for life. The bond they had forged was stronger than any fleet or weapon. As the weeks passed, life in the valley returned to a steady rhythm. Ryan worked with the warriors, improving training, strengthening defenses, and exploring the surrounding plains. Mara included him in all strategic decisions. The tribe held ceremonies to honor the courage displayed during the battles, celebrating the human who had fallen from the sky but had risen to become their equal. One day, Ryan received a faint signal from deep space. It was not threatening, just a message from a distant outpost confirming that search teams had been unable to detect the valley. Ryan smiled. Earth had no knowledge of the bonds formed here, no understanding of the unity achieved. He knew that someday humans and Varen might meet again, not as strangers or enemies, but as allies. Ryan walked through the camp, observing the Varen children learning new skills, the warriors practicing drills, and the elders sharing wisdom. The tribe had become a living example of cooperation and growth. He felt pride and peace. The valley was safe, not because of a single person or a single race, but because courage, wisdom, and trust had come together. Mara approached, placing a hand on his shoulder. "The valley thrives because of you," she said. "Not just because you fought, but because you showed what humans can be when they choose respect and understanding." Ryan shook his head. "I only helped. The Varen saved the valley. I only followed courage and logic," she smiled. "Courage and logic together can change the world. That is why you are one of us." That night, Ryan sat by the main fire, watching the flames dance under the twin moons. The Varen gathered around, sharing stories and laughter. He realized that life had given him a rare gift, an entirely new world, friends who trusted him, and a purpose that transcended simple survival. He was no longer a human lost in the stars. He was a bridge between two worlds, a symbol of unity and hope.